Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 11 spoilers are here, but just a reminder that we're always dealing with rough translation, so I'm just going to be giving a general overview of what takes place, so be sure to hit that follow button and come back on Sunday when we will be doing our proper breakdown of the chapter. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. So chapter 11 begins with a private conversation between Usami and Mino, where they're basically talking about how Pandora's box has now been opened because they've discovered that the Samoarians powered their interstellar spacecraft with cursed energy, and that they found a way to convert cursed energy into other forms and resources, which basically is Pandora's box, because they know that that will put a huge target on Japanese citizens' backs, because if people learn that cursed energy is in fact an incredibly valuable resource again, then everyone's going to be gunning for Japan. So Usami is like, we have to keep this a secret. Like, let's try to broker some sort of treaty or alliance with the Samoarians. You know, we'll help each other and hopefully we can keep this under wraps and basically reveal this information when we're prepared to. So they're basically like, we really need to make sure that this dinner, this cultural exchange, goes off well, and we broker this peace with the Samoarians. Usami then gets a phone call from all the kids, and Yuka is like, hey, Usami, we decided what we wanted to do for dinner. We're gonna have a takoyaki party, but we still need some ingredients. And Usami is like, bet, I know a guy. We then just jump to this side quest where Tsurugi and Maru have been sent on a mission to go get some of the seafood, and presumably like this octopus or this squid that they're gonna have for the takoyaki party. And they meet up with this old guy who's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. It's presumably Usami's connect, and he tells them like some lore about these octopus and the surrounding region. And next thing we know is that Maru and Tsurugi are like diving into the ocean looking for these squid, and they encounter all of these jellyfish. Like, it's a full page panel of just like Tsurugi seeing just all of these jellyfish. It's a really cool panel. And he's basically like, okay, you know, these are dangerous, but I gotta get these octopus so Yuka doesn't talk trash on me. And next thing we know, both Tsurugi and Maru are like covered. They've both been stung to high heaven by these jellyfish, just looking absolutely wrecked. So meanwhile, Yuka and Cross have kind of stayed behind doing their own thing, and we see Yuka take a bunch of medicine, presumably for her brain cancer that we know she has. And Cross is like, you still haven't told anybody? Like, why aren't you sharing this? And Yuka was like, no, I don't want to. I want everything to remain as normal as possible. And Cross is basically like, I see. What happens next is we cut back to Tsurugi and Maru, and there's like 2 or 3 pages of them just having a conversation, and it seems as if a lot of lore is being dropped here. But again, rough translations, I don't even want to butcher this, but the general sense of what they're talking about seems to be like this faction of warriors on Samoria, on the alien planet, that don't have cursed energy. Like, they're basically trained in the utmost for their physicality because they don't have cursed energy in order to protect others. And it sounds a lot like Tsurugi, given like his heavenly restriction. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be like that in their version of it, or if that's not the connection that's being made at all. Like, maybe it's just, oh yeah, people that don't have cursed energy, that aren't sorcerers on Samoria, they're trained physically. That's like what the conversation is about. And seemingly also revealed here is that when Samoarian women give birth, they lose their cursed energy. And it's like very dangerous for them. And they're just talking about like how unfair that is and how imbalanced the world can be in certain ways. Again, very rough. We'll get into the nuance on Sunday. We then cut to Maru, Tsurugi, Yuka, and Cross having reunited in the kitchen. And now there is like a chef that's with them in full chef attire. And apparently she's just like one of the chefs for Jujutsu High. And she's kind of freaking out, being like, what do you mean I got to put together this very important culinary party between aliens and humans? And she's basically freaking out about the takoyaki party, and they're trying to get everything together. And next we kind of jump into the start of this dinner party, and we have some lore revealed about the Diskunte. This is a conversation between Jabaloma and Usami mostly, but there are a lot of like officials here for this dinner party, right? And Dabra is also there. But Jabaloma is basically revealing that there is some sort of curse on the Diskunte clan called the Death Curse, or something to that effect. And essentially, when a member of the Diskunte dies, the curse activates according to the command left by the chieftain. So We don't really know what that means. Again, we're dealing with rough translations, but Jabaloma is basically explaining this to Usami, and Usami is like, yeah, we're gonna see what our sorcerers can, figure out about this. Like, maybe we can help you guys with this curse. We then kind of have a direct conversation between Usami and Dabura about this curse, and there is some mention of Africa, and some people in the translations are mentioning Miguel and his black whip, but I don't know if that's true. But essentially what they are talking about is that there may be some information that they can glean from Africa where they've dealt with these types of curses and unraveling them, which could make sense for the black robe, which we know disrupted curses, so that could be where the connection is. But I just don't know if he literally mentions Miguel and the black robe or not. But essentially Dabra is like, okay, so there might be a way to do this then. And Usami and Mino are basically like, okay, this is hopeful. Like, if we have something that the Samoreans need, like aka our help unraveling this curse, then maybe they will agree to keep this information about cursed energy and converting it into resources a secret for us. We then cut to the chef and Yuka like bursting out of the kitchen like with the food that they have prepared, and they run directly into Dabra, who's like gotten up to go to the bathroom or something, I don't know. And so they run into each other, and Yuka and Dabra just kind of look at each other and don't say anything. And then the chef and Dabra have this moment, and the chef gets like completely flustered and starts blushing like she's got a major crush on this dude, as a lot of you do as well. I've seen the internet memes. But then she just storms off and is like really embarrassed. She's like, oh my god, he saw me without makeup. And then we cut to Dabra, who just like re-enters the main room where everyone else is eating, and he's being kind of awkward, so he might have a little bit of a crush on her too. We then cut back to the spaceship where we see Oski, who, if you recall, is the Samoran that has been kind of a hater the whole time. This is the one that cross-punched when he was a little kid. And we see him just walking down a hallway when we see that there is a bunch of commotion, and some other Samorans are like, hey, come here, like something's going on. And we see that one of the elder Samorans is like collapsing, and he's in distress, and Oski's like, hey, what happened? And they're like, it's not good, like he's in danger. And we see that this guy's third eye is crying, which we know only happens to Samorians when they're born, when they die, and when a Kalyan dies. And the elder is like freaking out, and he's just kind of talking nonsense. He says, I saw it, my older sister being killed by one of the Japanese like citizens. And then he says, I saw it the moment a Kalyan was being brutally slaughtered. And that's where the chapter ends, ending on a final panel that seems to be some like glimpse at Japan. Maybe it might be this glimpse of the future that the elder is claiming to have seen, or it might be some glimpse of the present somewhere. But it's just like this dark shot of the city, and there's like flying creatures in the distance in the sky. They kind of look like pterodactyls a little bit, or presumably some sort of cursed spirit, maybe even a Kalyan. But that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, for those of you that don't recall, this is what I'm talking about with his third eye, the one that is crying, which again, since he's not dead, he's either in the process of dying and that's why he's crying, or a Kalyan actually did die and so that's why he's crying. So this is really interesting. This chapter, for the most part, was kind of slice of life. Them, jellyfish hunting and squid hunting, and then having this dinner party, a budding romance between the chef and Dabura potentially. But then this reveal that something has hit the fan. This elder has had some sort of vision where he thinks his sister is being killed and a Kalyan is being killed, and that's obviously going to throw a huge wrench in any potential peace negotiations, right? So, is somebody sabotaging this? Was this foul play? Was this something Mahito is doing unrelated but is having an effect? Like, who knows? In any case, though, be sure to come on back on Sunday when we will do our proper breakdown with the line-by-line translations, and we can really get into the nuance. But until then, be sure to let me know all of your thoughts, theories, and comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching.